This is KGW News at noon.
Our top story here this afternoon continues to be our mid-April winter-like weather. So Rod Hill, we know it's cold outside. The people want to know, how cold is it?
Let me tell you, on the rooftop here at KGW TV, if you will, we're at 37 degrees right now. 37. That's roughly 5 degrees colder than the overnight low temperature should be. Let's see what the airport is. We have the rain outside. I was just outside about 15 minutes ago, and there's a rawness today with a southwest breeze that is absolutely noticeable. Yeah, look at that. The airport that has been up to about 43 is now rain cooled to 39 out of PDX. If we don't make it to 48 today, which I don't think we will, we'll set the record for the coldest high temperature for today's date. So this continues to be historic cold. See all the white on the radar? That's snow, and there are some snow dots even mixed in to the lower elevations around the valley. Generally speaking, for sticking snow, we have the snow level at about 1,000 feet, but don't be surprised if you get a heavier shower and you see something coming down. Here's the Coast Range, 33 is the temperature. Remember that snow level, 1,000 feet? They're getting a new batch of snow right now falling. Of course, it's all out January, I've been telling you, up on the mountains for your traveling, 26 degrees. Look at government camp. So you'll need chains or traction tires if you're going up into the high country. 46, we'll need a dry window to get even that warm, and that would be the record if that's the high today for the coldest temperature on today's date. Once we get into this evening, we start ramping up the chance of seeing more snow in the air. We could have sticking snow into tomorrow morning. I'll talk more about that and have the Futurecast movie for you coming up in just a bit.
Probably a good time to remind people today is April 12th, and yet we're seeing all this crazy winter-like weather. Yesterday morning's snowstorm left a lot of people without power, of course. At one point yesterday, more than 77,000 PGE customers had no electricity. This afternoon, that number is down now to less than 8,000, but still, down power lines and fallen trees have many roads closed around the area. So we have Devin Haskins covering this part of the story for us. Devin, with an update now on some of the biggest closures.
Yeah, some of the worst of it in the West Hills. The area of northwest Portland sits higher than downtown. So, of course, it's full of trees over there in the forest and power lines. And that was just hit hard with that heavy, wet snow yesterday. Roads like Skyline, Burnside, Germantown Road, all impacted with closures. Here's a more specific list. Burnside from Northwest 24th out to Skyline. Another section of Skyline farther west is closed from Newberry to Germantown Road. And Germantown is also closed from Skyline to Highway 30. ODOT has closed Cornelius Pass Road between Highway 30 and Germantown. The city says more than 400 trees fell around Portland on Monday and say it's not as easy as just clearing a tree.
PBOT can't get in and clear the road of debris until the foresters have been able to clear the trees, and the really large trees especially that they have the expertise on. The foresters can't get in to take out those large trees until it's safe for them to operate because of the power lines being down.
Yeah, a lot of work needs to be done before those roads open. And now in eastern Oregon, ODOT has also closed down I-84 from Pendleton to Ontario because of the weather conditions out there. Drew?
Yeah, this really is a story all across the area. Let's talk about Clark County now. Parts of Clark County were hit with close to a foot of snow yesterday morning. So that meant a full-fledged snow day right here in the middle of April. Catherine Cook brings us more from a few local spots, including Camas.
It was the celebration heard round the metro area. Out this window, cherry blossoms covered in snow. At this house, a tree decorated for Easter. Or was it Christmas? And why not make a backyard fire in the snow? At every turn, a paradox of eye-popping beauty, head-scratching confusion, and calendar-checking just to make sure that, yes, it really is April 11th.
So last week I was golfing, and then today we're playing in the snow.
David Moore got around 8 inches of snow at his home in Camas. Parts of Clark County saw nearly a foot. For the kids,
snowball fights. Okay.
That meant no school. It also meant no power for thousands of families like the Moores. Their saving grace, a fireplace that runs on batteries, and a neighbor with some D-cells to spare.
Because he knows we have 3 little kids and wanted to keep some warmth in the house, so we got that going and kept the fridge shut, and power kicked on around lunchtime.
For Clark Public Utilities, it was one repair after another. Here they are near Richfield. Their biggest issue is trees falling into power lines. The snow piled up fast on newly leafed out trees. Their increased surface area like a bunch of open hands holding way too much. Many, like this maple, didn't stand a chance. Others that didn't fall are making people uneasy.
You can see how the branches are hanging down and heavy with the weight of that heavy snow.
In Southeast Portland, arborist Pete Botke shared that older trees and those not native to the area are at highest risk for falling. He says if a tree crosses any type of roadway or sidewalk, urban forestry can remove it for you. He cautions against trying to do the job yourself.
As soon as you hear the crack and the pop, it's going to be too late to run out from under it. I mean, it happens in an instant. And I don't know if you can see the size of that branch. That would not do anybody any favors.
Back in Camas, this snow day is almost complete. And that should do it.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Right now, we want to get to some other local headlines that we're following here this afternoon, and we start in Northeast Salem, where police officers shot and killed a man near the intersection of 17th and Center Street Northeast. Investigators say 2 officers were processing a stolen car last night when one of the 2 men inside that car got out and started fighting with the officers. Police described it as a violent fight, and one of the officers wound up shooting the man. Both officers gave him first aid until an ambulance got there. That man later died at the hospital. Oregon State Police is now leading the investigation into what exactly happened. Meanwhile, in Beaverton last night, a man died after a hit-and-run crash off Southwest Barrows Road near Progress Ridge. The driver involved left the scene initially, but at this point they are cooperating with police. Officers are investigating this as a possible DUI case. And we also have an update this afternoon on the murder trial of romance novelist Nancy Crampton Brophy. On Monday, the lead investigator in the case took the stand. The detective's testimony focused on surveillance footage near the Oregon Culinary Institute. That's where Brophy's husband, Daniel, was an instructor, and it's also where his body was found back in June of 2018. The detective told the jury that the video showed a van that looked like Brophy's in that area. It was spotted 2 times the morning that her husband was shot and killed. You can watch day 6 of this trial live right now on KGW.com. And that's a look at some of today's local headlines. Now to another story that we're following here this afternoon. Intel just launched a brand new factory in Hillsboro, along with some programs to get entry-level workers in the door. Galen Etland takes a look at this $3 billion project.
Oregon lawmakers and Intel say they are working together to make the state more competitive when it comes to semiconductor production. So that means working on new laws and boosting the local workforce.
A snip of the ribbon and applause in Hillsboro Monday celebrated the grand opening of a new Intel factory.
Absolutely a great Oregon success story.
The D1X factory expansion adds 270,000 square feet, focused on research, development, and production of semiconductor technologies. Computer chips.
Every aspect of human existence is becoming more digital.
Intel CEO Patrick Gelsinger described Intel's expanding Oregon headquarters as the company's crown jewel.
The entire world benefits from the advancements that we do here in Hillsboro.
Intel announced this year it was adding factories in Ohio and Arizona, stirring questions about the company's future here. But Gelsinger said most of Intel's multi-billion-dollar investments remain in Oregon, with nearly 22,000 employees and 3,500 added last year.
Wow, they're like rabbits. They're just popping up all over the place.
Nobody ever gets ahead by looking backward.
Both Oregon Senators Jeff Merkley and Ron Wyden said they're working on federal tax incentives to keep high-paying semiconductor jobs here.
For Oregon and our country to be poised at the front of the line.
We want the United States of America to be the world leader in producing the electronic chips here on planet Earth.
The new factory means new jobs. Intel did not say how many, but said it's hiring and competing for labor.
There are so many shortages, and we know some industries are actually having a standstill because they can't get enough chips.
That's Intel's Chief People Officer, Christy Pambianchi, who announced 2 new recruitment programs. Quick Start would train and certify people over a 2-week period to become entry-level semiconductor technicians. The second program partners with Hillsborough Public Schools to recruit students for apprenticeships.
And the goal is to start it here and then hopefully scale it across the state.
She says technician jobs can pay about $75,000 a year. Intel is also offering millions in grants to universities nationwide to incentivize pathways to the semiconductor sector.
To inspire students and families with access to STEAM education.
Local lawmakers have a new task force to boost Oregon semiconductor production, setting their sights on Intel's future here.
And I can't wait to see what we will achieve next.
Part of Intel's goal during this expansion and hiring process is to diversify its workforce. It wants to recruit more women, people in rural communities, and underrepresented minorities. Galen Etlin, KGW News.